recording. It's our last weekly sync, everyone.
No.
Like hooray and sad at the same time. I'm going to miss all of you, but I'm super excited for Career Lab. I think the content looks amazing, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, all of the cool things that you're learning. And I'm really looking forward to demo. So I'm going to hand it off to Chris.
Thanks. Same. I'm incredibly excited to see demos this week. I think this week is going to be a little bit unusual, given that the prior weeks it's usually been like 2 tickets and then we demo 1 ticket and we demo another ticket. Y'all were a flurry of productivity this week and filed more issues as you were already finishing issues. There was just a storm of productivity. So definitely big kudos to everybody. And yeah, I'd like to turn the floor over to the lab and just whoever wants to start us off with the demo, show us what y'all have been up to.
Awesome. I think, Viet, you're going to screen share. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Here
we go.
Okay. And I'm just going to start out with a little announcement. We wanted to do this a little bit more casually. So we're going to walk through the application, kind of follow what the flow for the user would be, and just sort of talk about like the decisions we made along the way and why we did that. So a little more casual today.
Okay, and I'll start us off on the welcome page, which Viet is showing on the screen. So I handled the styling of this. We all just decided on together, but based on the wireframe that we came up with. So we had kind of chosen for our color palette that we really like these pastel blue, red, yellow, and orange. And so I found this image that really encapsulated all of those and put it together. And then using some Material UI components, we really had a nice kind of rounded flow to everything. So it all really came nicely together. And now I'll hand it over to Dee to talk a little bit about accessibility on this page.
Yeah, so for that yellow welcome box that you see before you, we had an issue with accessibility when a user would type in a token that didn't exist or type in a wrong token. So you get an error message when you try to join a list that doesn't exist. So we use the Wave accessibility checker that Lauren talked about in one of our meetings, and it was saying that there was a contrast error between the font color of the error message and the background color of that welcome box. So what I had to do to fix it was I used the opacity selector, CSS selector on the welcome box, and I made it a little more transparent, and I also made the error message, the font bold, and also darkened the red, and that fixed that accessibility issue. And then next I'm going to hand it off to Brittany, and she's going to talk about the shopping list page.
Yes, so we set up Material UI, a Material UI theme in the application and created our own palette. And we haven't actually implemented that yet here for the list because there were some challenges there. And with the time that we had remaining, we wanted the list to look nice. We wanted to have the color on the sidebar. And the easiest way to do that was just to kind of leave it as it was. And those colors, fortunately, kind of were in line with our color palette. So that is, the Material UI is in the background, and our goal is to eventually implement it. But that was one of the decisions we had to make, was to kind of say that we were going to not go with that for now. We did have some accessibility issues on this page that we needed to address, such as with the icons, the trash can icon. There's no text with that. And fortunately, using Material UI, actually, Material UI has a lot of built-in things to address accessibility. And so that icon has an ARIA labeled delete on it. And that's one of the attributes available for the Material UI icon. And so that addressed that issue. And then down below at the bottom of the page, you can see that we're using a few other Material UI icons for just to kind of make the application a little more fun and kind of clarify what things are for. And then we have our home SVG as well. And then Dee's going to talk a little bit about our navigation here.
Yeah, so we intended to use Material UI's bottom navigation component, but ran into some challenges with getting the active link, the UI to change. So for example, if you're on the home page and you don't have a token, you're not able to navigate to the shopping list or the add item page. But with the Material UI component, it was still like appearing to select those links when you're clicking them, even if you're not navigating, like the color of the icon would change. So we just stuck with React Router DOM's nav link and active class name to change the background color. And that just seemed to work better for us than Material UI. So we just stuck with that. And I'm also going to talk about our check circles. So with the check circles, we use also Material UI. And so the outline circles, like the unchecked circles, are actually radio buttons. The radio button icons from Material UI, they didn't have circular checkboxes in Material UI, so we had to get a little creative so we could implement that design. And then we just use the filled checked icon from Material UI. So now we have check circles instead of check boxes. And now I'm going to pass it off to Viet, and he's going to talk about the add item page.
Yeah, so at this time you can see the consistency that we've had with the entire app using Material UI. Our search box is very similar, where when you click on it, the placeholder text goes up in here, so you can still see it and select what you need to select. Like Dee said, these radio buttons, which we use for the check circles, are very similar styled with a really subtle highlight around there. You know, the add item button looks, it's a button component from Material UI. Yeah, so all these little things helped us make the entire app look very consistent, and the functionalities very much the same. And I think Dee, I think I'm going to hand it off to Dee to talk about. Oh, Brittany. Sorry, Brittany.
I think I'm talking about the loading feature next, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, awesome. Viet, before I do that, do you want to show the little effect on the add item?
Oh yeah, I kind of was messing around with this one night and found that little effect when you tab to the button, just kind of like, oh, it's breathing, you know. So I found that pretty cool. So, you know, yeah.
So it's like little touches that kind of put things together.
That we this is all Material UI, but it's a kind of like a nice little feature. You know, it's a great way, great reason to use this framework.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our loading feature. So if you add an item, you'll notice this really nice loading kind of circle. And you'll also see that if you refresh the list page. And so sometimes it flashes pretty quickly. You don't really see much of it. Other times it's there a little longer. Initially, we had these really cute images that were like food, little like pictures of food, and there were food puns. And we thought it would be really fun to have those appear as our loading screen, but eventually discussed that, you know, it didn't really make sense, because you would either have the natural loading time and it would flash so quickly that the user probably wouldn't even be able to tell what it was, or we'd have to slow down that load time, which would be not great for our users in order to have them see it. So we decided to implement this nice little loading circle. Rachel put in that feature, and we felt that that was a lot better for accessibility and for user flow. And I think that Rachel's going to talk about our home icon next.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, so as you can see in our bottom navigation, we have that little home icon. And so what we added to this as well is the availability. If you go ahead and click it, it'll give you the option to, oh, there should be a prompt that does pop up, but to clear, to clear local storage, because previously the only way to do it was to go into your dev tools in the application and then just delete the user token. So we really wanted to add that feature in. So that is just, doing that now automatically for the user. And then once that happens, it'll navigate back to the home page. One thing in using that feature, we did look into updating, because right now we're just using a window confirm function for the user to have that alert. So I looked into using alert dialog, which is one of Material UI's components, which would have done a nice kind of alert. But just for the time restraints we had this week, it was a bit more in terms of the code and implementation, because this is a thing that we would reuse also when you go and click on the delete trash can to remove an item. We're using the window prompt there. So definitely, if we spent more time on this, this was a Material UI thing we would put into place. And with that, I'll pass over to Viet to talk a little bit about the mobile responsiveness.
Yeah, so this is the only section or the only page where we really wanted to mess with the responsiveness. Everything else was narrow enough where it wasn't too much of an issue. And Rachel and I decided to use media queries in our CSS to handle the responsiveness of turning this into a column at a certain width. And you can see that the text in the footer also is responsive. Again, I think if we had time, we would look into the way to Material UI would do this, but we knew that if we put in a media query at a certain width, and we could change the overall layout of the page to make it do what we needed it to do. And I think I'm going to hand it off to Dee to talk about why we chose to not have a header on this page versus on the other pages.
Yeah, so as you can see, this page kind of already has a lot going on. And we didn't want to add a header to kind of distract from the beautiful background picture that Rachel chose for us. So only the shopping list page and the add item page have the header. And in that header, you have the title. And we felt like if we put the header in the home page, you would be seeing that title twice. It's kind of redundant. So we just decided to go without the header, keep it a little more simple, and then when you're in the shopping list and the add item page, you'll be able to see the nice title in the header. So, and yeah.
So this, and you can see we have the header here, and just going back to the home page. I think this is one of the views where the tab works really well. Lauren had talked about trying out the site without mousing around, and it works. I think Material UI helps us out in this case also, where we're able to just tab to the bottom nav, back and forth, back to the search boxes and any buttons that we would need to, all without having the mouse. So yeah, I think that's the walkthrough of the app, and I'd like to open it up for questions if you all have any.
That was about the most buttoned up thing I think I've ever seen. That was amazing. I'm gonna hand it off to so-and-so to talk about this. You just had it all worked out. I love it. And the app looks great too. The demo is good, but the app looks amazing.
I love the narrative flow that you went through the course of the demo and how you matched it up to the user's experience. And then you also took moments as you went along to talk about the accessibility instead of kind of just waiting until the end to mention it as a side note. I think that was a great strategy. I'm so proud of y'all right now. That was awesome. Great job.
Yeah, I'll definitely second that. The demo is amazing. The app just looks amazing and is really good quality. Like I kept on, with the responsiveness, trying to break it while I was reviewing, and it's tough to break. So yeah, really good. And then also just this last week has been, I feel like, kind of hands off, and it was really cool to come back, later in the week and be like, whoa, holy moly, it's looking good. Yeah, really good job.
Yeah, it was really fun to just see all of the PRs pouring in, and everyone was just on top of everything all of the time. I loved in the demo how you were talking about the decisions that you made along the way, because we always have to make those kinds of decisions, and just like all of the pieces bit by bit coming together, and people creating issues on the fly and just tackling them, and it was really exciting. It was a super fun, exciting week, and it just looks beautiful. I wish Andrew, you'll have to go back and watch their last week's demo of their their design process, because I really love how they approached it. They took a lot of time with all of the tools, and it was a really neat. Yeah, it's a cool process.
Nice.
Thank you everyone for all the positive feedback and the support. That's really just so nice.
Oh, and Dee had we spent so much time looking at this on our screens, or on our computer screens, and Dee had pointed out that we should check it out on the phone. And
it looks amazing.
And it looked
oh, good.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Cool.
Anybody got any more questions or comments, or shall we wrap up demo? Cool. So retro next?
Retro coming up. So exciting. Oh my gosh, y'all. It was just so beautiful. I love the color scheme so much. Just, and that background image on the homepage is so great. Love it, love it. All right, so let me share the board, and I'll post the link in the chat. Where are you? There you are. There's a link in the chat, and let's do, a lot of us have already started, but let's do 7 minutes to add your thoughts. And then again, I know I've mentioned this already, but we have a new column this week asking what's next for you, just really what's happening for you next, how can we support you going forward, and yeah. So 7 minutes, I will set my timer, and here we go.
I'm going to have to leave at the top of the hour. So maybe Lauren, you can read my cards. I mean, I might be here for one card or something, but yeah.
For sure, I will.
Left some comments in there.
Right, I think we're done. Let me turn off my timer. 1 sec.
You're gonna unpause, or you're recording. Okay,
I did.
good job.
I'm recording. Thank you. I know. And then I think, am I sharing my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's, Andrew, why don't we start with you since you have to leave?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Good.
Yeah, so thank you all. I just appreciate so much that you trust Collab Lab with your time and kind of putting your careers in our hands to some extent. Like these, it's I don't take it for granted that people would choose to spend 8 weeks here working in our program and kind of trusting us with that. So thank you all for that. The mentors, you're an amazing group, really super strong. Just loved kind of seeing how you all kind of worked as a team to get all just to support and encourage the developers in this team. So super appreciate all of you, and I hope that you all stick around the Collab Lab community after this is done, and stay involved, and maybe come back and do the advanced one at some time in the future or something, or mentor. We can all be mentors. That's a thing. So anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop for the other meeting, but take care. The demo was amazing. The app's amazing. Excellent, amazing work. So thanks a lot. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Chris, I'll pass it to you.
Sure thing. Yeah, I definitely appreciated how just passionate everyone was about the project and how willing that y'all were to dig into problems or to reach for stretch goals and to improve on what you already accomplished. You definitely didn't just rest on your laurels once you'd accomplished the basic, feature, and that was consistent like through the whole process. So kudos majorly on that. On a similar note, I also really just appreciated how open to feedback everyone was. Especially as you were sort of learning and growing through the process of code review and what it feels like to have someone else like give feedback about your code, which is like really personal, but I think you all took it really well. And I even appreciated how good that the mentors were about this, as there was like, back and forth on code reviews, and like, we didn't 100% agree with everything, but I always felt like there was good discussion. So that was great. I also really just appreciated how self-directed that the team was and how you could take our feedback and really run with it. And I think that was pretty apparent throughout the whole experience, but especially these last 2 weeks. Like y'all really nailed it in terms of being just self-directed self-starters. So nicely done. Definitely big shout out to Lauren and Mike. Thank you so much for being great partners as mentors here. It always felt like you had my back, and even in a moment where I might not have quite had time to get to something because we were such a tight net, it felt like basically everything was being handled. So it was a really great experience. And of course, thanks to Andrew and Stacy too, and the rest of the TCL crew, because even though we all did such a great job, I feel like we worked through this amazing framework that was provided for us, and I have to attribute a lot of our success to that program as well. And it was just a really cool experience that I'm happy I got to participate in general, and happy I got to participate in specifically with this group of people. So,
Yep, for sure. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes, like volunteer work to make Collab Lab happen. They do so much, and they're so passionate about it. Love it. Yet.
Yeah, just want to let you all know I appreciate the time we've all spent together during the last 2 months. And besides React and Firebase, I just learned a lot about how to work with all of you. To the mentors, your help and guidance has been amazing. At least one, and oftentimes all of you have been available to spend time, during like all hours of the day to help us out with our tasks. And I appreciate you all sharing your own personal experiences with us during office hours. And to my team, it was just really fun getting to know each and every one of you on a personal level. And we all had our ups and downs during this journey, and we got through it together. And I feel like we really supported each other, and that reflected in the time and the dedication that we put into the project. And this, the experience is more than I expected to get out of it. And it's just really, I feel like I've learned and grown a lot throughout these past 2 months. And I really hope to land on a team that's anywhere near as good as this one, and feel really fortunate to work with all of you again in the future.
Awesome. Oh, Rachel.
The whole TCL experience has been wonderful. It's not only taught me new stuff about coding, but the collaboration aspect and the processes like the PRs and retros make me feel like I'll be a lot more prepared for my first real job in tech. Lauren, Mike, and Chris, your dedication to the program has been very apparent, from offering great feedback and lots of helpful resources, just being willing to offer assistance on things inside and outside of TCL's project, and sharing your own personal experiences. A break into the tech field has just been really awesome. Brittany, Dee, and Viet, it's been delightful working with and getting to know each of you. Our communication has been super clear. Everyone has been really supportive and flexible. I think we make a really great team.
For sure. Mike.
Yeah, so this has been just a really, really great experience. And it was honestly a lot more fun and enjoyable than I was even expecting. So that was really great. And yeah, I learned a ton from fellow mentors just in code reviews and the presentations and just pretty much everything. And I think Chris also summed up really well that there was a really nice net. So I definitely felt like at any given time, if I wasn't available, I trusted that someone else was, and that was always the case. And yeah, also wanted to just thank everyone for really going all in on this. I think everyone's volunteering their time, and it didn't feel like that at all. And everyone was just really giving 100% of the energy to this. And yeah, so thank you everyone for taking a lot of risks, being humble, and being really, really good at both giving and receiving criticism, which is really, really hard. And yeah, everyone made a really good effort, or great effort. And the end, I'm super proud of the product that y'all were able to deliver. Really good job.
Absolutely. Dee.
So I really had no idea what to expect when I signed up for Collab Lab. But I'm super, super happy that I did. This has been an amazing experience, and everyone involved, like the mentors, both inside our TCL-17 and outside, have been amazing, and everyone is so smart and experienced, and it's so easy to talk to all of you. And throughout this whole process, I've never felt like I was like on my own or unsupported, and you were always there to offer guidance and feedback, and even just to like listen to us talk about our days or talk about like how we're interviewing and stuff like that. You just guys are kind of the epitome of like a mentor in my eyes, so thank you. And Chris, like, I love how you break things down. Like, you explain things so eloquently, and it's so easy to understand, but like you give the why behind the what, and it's just, I love that. And Mike, you're always ready to offer us an alternative method to solve our problem. It's great. Like, your mind is pretty innovative, and I really love that about you. And Lauren, I feel like you're an amazing leader, and like, I just appreciate your guidance so much that, yeah. Thank you guys. And for my team, I think from the very beginning, we've all been pretty intentional about communicating and working pretty hard. Like, nobody has slacked off or anything. Like, we've all brought like the same like drive to this project, and I think that's why it's been able to work so well. I really appreciate how driven each of you are. Like, nobody had to like pick up the load because someone was slacking. Like, we all supported each other, and we all came with like 100% effort each and every time we came together. So I really, really appreciate about that. And it just helps me to like form the ideal team of like my future job. Like it's what I would, it's like the type of people I would want to work with. So thank you guys.
Yay. So true. All right, is this Brittany? Okay.
I just want to say to Chris, Mike, and Lauren, I was just consistently blown away by how awesome the three of you were as mentors. I think being a mentor is a skill as well, and you did such a wonderful job of supporting us and guiding us, but also helping us learn on our own, encouraging us to kind of find solutions. And so just your willingness to help and to, you know, jump on calls with us, help me delete my entire application and start over. Just you were all amazing and made this process so wonderful. So thank you. And to my teammates, I just am so grateful to have gotten to know you over the past 8 weeks and to have been able to collaborate with you. And I think this whole process was so wonderful because we had so much fun with it and everyone was really dedicated and really focused on like communicating well and collaborating. I specifically remember a moment with Viet where we were working on timestamp things, and you know, I just said at the end, this was frustrating code, but the process was so much fun because we really like communicated about it and worked through it together. And so moments like that over the past 8 weeks really made this so much more of an enjoyable, it's already an enjoyable experience, but it just made it so much better. So I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Let's see. So I want to thank Chris and Mike. I think that what I'm saying is really what both of you said, that I felt like I could always rely on both of you, not only to like be knowledgeable and like friendly, but you're always there. Like I knew that I could, if I wasn't at the keyboard, somebody else was, and you both had really the same kind of commitment and desire to help the team and be there for the team. So I would just really appreciate that. And so knowledgeable and thoughtful and kind and really great mentors. Yet you just contributed so much. You were always striving to do more. You always asked really hard questions, like challenging questions, and I really appreciated that about you. Rachel, you were so great at code review. You always had great comments, offering ways to make things better, and but like with default to approval, I thought your code review skills were just so excellent. Dee, you have this great balance between being like really, really skilled and then at the same time not being afraid to show that maybe you don't know something and being vulnerable to ask a question when probably others had the same question. So congratulations, great job. Brittany, like sharing notes with everybody, that's just so cool. I love that about you. And always being so supportive and good to everyone. It's really great having you on the team. And then all of you are so talented, hardworking, and wonderful. I mean, anyone would be lucky to have any of you on their team. So thank you. Cool. So going off of that, let's talk about what went well, which was so many things. So Chris, you are up first.
Sure. One thing that I really wanted to call out was I loved the specific places where the team decided to cut scope away. Like sometimes I'll see someone like in the real world on a real team, like cut scope where it's like, ooh, but that was going to be so good. And like, don't we still want to have like a good experience for the user? You know, so like you always have to keep those things in balance. And in the end, I was very happy with what you decided to punt on. And like the whole project still ended up so great, even though there were specific tactical places where you were like, okay, we're not going to do this thing. So really good work with that. I also just thought that the whole like design brainstorming and ticket generation process went really smoothly. I think that went really well. And you know, it was a new style of working together. It was different kind of than what you've been doing so far. And I just thought that y'all, you know, rose to the challenge and really took well to the process. And you know, I think that it shows in the end product that you created that it was really high quality. And then also just I think you deserve like extra congratulations on this demo this week. Like this was even a cut above what you have normally been delivering, which is great, to be clear. But this could have been like, this almost to me was like bigger than just like a team demo of like what I accomplished this sprint. This was like a whole company all hands meeting where you're like demoing the launch of a new product or something. Like that's sort of like the feeling that I got. And it was, yeah, just really professional and well done. So that went super well. Nice job.
Yeah, absolutely. Share this video with your future employers because it's so good. Exactly what Chris said. So I'll read what Andrew wrote. He said, you all took this self-organizing design task and ran with it. Super impressive work. And my goodness, what an organized, buttoned up demo. I mean, he's seen a lot of demos. So very good job. Viet.
Yeah, even though the past 2 weeks was more open, like the format was more open than the previous 6 weeks, we scheduled time to meet together on regular intervals. We had conversations in our Slack thread, and also we had our own personal like direct messages to each other and like a group direct message also, just so we could share ideas and thoughts. Yeah, we met throughout the week a couple times on Zoom, just knowing that we had issues that we still needed to talk through, like the color palette or some things that some of their design decisions and splitting up of tasks. And I thought even though we didn't fully embrace Material UI early on, when we decided on that, we were just dove in and just like took care of integrating what we had over to Material UI, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, for sure. That was a nice pivot. Like it was at the right time and everyone just really dove in. Rachel.
Yeah, I think this is kind of echoing a lot of what Viet said, but the communication, collaboration, and organization these last 2 weeks just allowed us to accomplish so much in terms of the styling and then just bring our application to what it is today with those decision-making things.
Mike?
Yeah, you know, I think earlier Chris had said that or in the chat had said that he kind of felt bad over the week for being like, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything. And I definitely had that same feeling where I didn't, yeah, just everyone was super self-organized and, you know, came in and saw that there were open PRs and then they were closed, but they were not just kind of just pushing code in. Sometimes I feel like I worry about looking away from how everyone's doing on the team sometimes, and worrying that when you come back, it's all going to be a jumbled mess, I guess. And everyone was, it definitely didn't, and it looked really good. And so, yeah, amazing self-organization, amazing job.
Yeah, I loved going to GitHub and be like, oh, everything's approved already. Looks good to me. Nice work. Dee.
Yeah, I think that our group did really well with communication these past 2 weeks. Because we're all, well, two of you guys are in the same time zone, but we have 3 different time zones going on, 4 different schedules, and we still were able to meet up, not regularly, but often enough during the week to like get things done and update each other. So I think that was awesome. And even if someone in the group was like, something was going on, and I know Brittany had so many issues with her internet, we were still able to just like support her through that and just tackle things when she was trying to figure things out. But but yeah, I really hope your internet, like, you figure that out. What else? The design meetings that we had, I feel like were so important, and I feel like if we wanted to, we could have skimmed over that, but we wouldn't have gotten the result that we did. And I'm really glad that we took the time to really focus in on not just what we're putting into the design, but why we're adding it to the design. So I was really glad that we took time to do that. And I know the mentors, you guys feel like you didn't do much, but I still felt pretty supported. Even if it was just like, oh yeah, this looks good. Like, just knowing that you guys are still checking in and we're still looking at our PRs, that was good. So yeah, that's basically it.
Cool. Brittany.
I think that we did a really good job of kind of echoing what Chris and Dee both said, you know, of like deciding what are we going to do, why are we going to do it, and then also deciding what didn't make sense to implement at like maybe at this time. So prioritizing what really needed to happen, like the accessibility, and putting other things on the back burner if they weren't as essential. And then I'm just so grateful to each and every one of my partners for, you know, number one, like Dee said, helping me out with my internet issues, or being willing to take things on when I maybe couldn't finalize something or push it up. But I think throughout the last 2 weeks, everybody jumped on to either help me make a design decision or like give me feedback on what I had done, or take something on. So everybody really just helped out so much, and I'm really grateful for that. And again, just this week, I agree, like you might not have felt, the mentors, you might not have felt like you were as active, but I really think that there were some essential things, like some essential feedback that helped us to get unstuck or make decisions or keep us on track, get us back on track if we had maybe forgotten something that we should be focusing on. So I thought that these past 2 weeks just went really well because of all that.
For sure. Really echoing what everyone else said, I thought that the amount of time that you spent on the design process that first week was time very, very, very well spent. It made this week, when, I mean, you really had a lot of development to do, to be honest. But I think all of those decisions and the planning that you did last week set you up for success for this week. I thought that was great. Everyone individually made great contributions. The decision-making that you did as a team, meeting up regularly just for those check-ins was wonderful. And then coordinating who's doing what throughout the process. I thought it just went really, really well. And moving on to what can be improved. Mike, you're at the top here.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking in terms of a improvement for the program. I really liked that the stories that were written, and was, yeah, thinking if there could be some sort of formalized grooming or introduction to what is grooming, and an attempt at story pointing would, like, because it's really, really tough to estimate work. But that's a really essential part of collaborating on a team. So that, yeah, that could be cool.
Cool, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe some kind of learning module or something. Chris?
Yeah, I really like that idea, Mike. That's good, and it kind of relates, I think, to my only point that I had here, which is that I think that the overall scope of the tickets from week to week wasn't necessarily like super consistent. And, you know, kind of jumping off of your idea there, Mike, it might be really interesting to just give each team, like, just here's an unordered bucket of tickets and all the features that need to be implemented. Now, as an exercise, the team goes through that and like decides when they're going to work on what and what has to get done first. Cause like that's something you'll totally do on the job, like later on. So maybe there's a way to have it be like on a week where team A is working on like some really big task that's going to take a lot of stuff. Any of the date related things come to mind for some of this really hard work. Maybe then having the other team like take on like a couple of smaller scoped issues or something like that. Just an idea, but yeah, something around kind of the overall scoping of the tickets I think could have been improved, but overall I really didn't have a lot to say on this column. So
Yeah, that's true. I agree. There sometimes like week to week, there's a little bit of imbalance, like in the amount of effort that it requires to get something done. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I don't usually have a lot to say in this column, and I can't really think of much to critique about this experience. I mean, it's been great, and you know, everybody that's helped put this together, like thank you and thanks for helping us, you know, do this.
Cool. Let's see. I'm gonna have Brittany go first because Dee, yours references what Brittany said.
Okay, yeah, I think it was challenging to complete all the design features, like doing the planning and doing the design within the last 2 weeks, because there was a lot to get done. I think we did an amazing job with it, and you know, towards the end it was like, oh wow, we've managed to actually get all this in there. But I think maybe if we had started thinking about writing tickets a little earlier, still not actually doing styling and doing design related things in our weekly features, but thinking about it and opening tickets might have left us feeling like we were a little, like we would have done that design planning earlier. And I didn't write this, but actually Chris's idea might provide a little more time, because you know, I think there was a week where Rachel and I were like, is that it? Are we done? And like Viet and Dee were still working on times, and we're like, oh, what do we do? So that, I think that idea could actually leave a little bit more time for doing design.
Cool. All right, and then let's go back to Dee.
Yeah, so I agree with Brittany, and then now that I've heard Chris's idea, I agree with Chris. Just because there was also a week where me and Rachel were just like, are we done? Like, that's it. Well, Brittany and Viet were working on time. So yeah, it just, the first week, we kind of didn't do really any coding, just it was mostly just like design planning. And then the second week just kind of felt like a kind of a race against time to get everything done. So I had like maybe starting the design portion earlier, but now that I've heard Chris's idea, I feel like that would just give you more time without having to kind of scrunch things in. So yeah, I think it would just spread things out better with Chris's idea. So I really, really like that idea.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see. So I had kind of similar things to say. So it'd be like in an ideal world, it'd be great to have like that week of kind of design decisions, maybe a week of really like architectural planning, kind of the technical, these are the things we're going to do technically to make all of this happen. And then a week of code, but like that's not really the real world. So I feel like it's tricky. So maybe if given a 2-week process, having that first week maybe make more setting some goals at the beginning of the week, like, okay, this is what we're going to have. By the end of this week, we're going to have these decisions made and we're going to have these designs done. And then maybe we're going to set up something like we'll get our material UI installed and the icons installed. Do you know what I mean? So because I feel like it's the process, it's part of the process and part of learning. Like, how are we going to work through this 2 weeks? That's it's a lot more free form than everything that we've been doing until now. So just kind of thoughts that I'm having about the process and maybe how I can mentor this part better in the future, like maybe guiding mentees toward, okay, maybe make these decisions and set up like 2 specific goals for the end of the first week to help guide that work for the first week. Just thinking about that. All right. So what is next for all of you? Chris?
Yeah, so I want to just echo what everyone has said about how much fun that volunteering with TCL has been. I definitely want to continue to be involved with it. I'm going to be pretty busy with some of my other projects that I'm going to mention on here, so I might not make the next one, but I definitely want to sign up to mentor again for sure in the future. Outside of work, buying a house is kind of like my current big project that I'm working on, trying to learn all kinds of stuff about that, find a realtor, et cetera, et cetera. And then in terms of mentoring, actually, so my wife is currently finishing up a degree in computer science, and she's going to be graduating soon. And so kind of coaching her through interview prep, like I finally needled her enough into creating a LinkedIn and creating a resume, just kind of like helping her to get through that process and prepare her for the job hunt is kind of like next on my mind. And then also just in terms of my own career, like, continuing to progress as a senior software engineer and look into like, what does the future hold for me? What does it mean to get to like staff engineer, stuff like that? That's also top of mind as I continue to progress in my own career. So.
Very cool. Mike?
Yeah. So yes, stay in touch, everyone. Absolutely. And I'll try to get some LinkedIn recommendations in the next few weeks, which I don't do those very often, but I feel like I definitely 100% would recommend all of you. And yeah, this is, if this wasn't a really good experience, I probably wouldn't be volunteering again. But I'm super excited that I'm jumping back on and going to attempt TCL-24 in Espanol. We'll see how that goes.
Cool.
Oh wait, I was muted. I'm excited that you're doing TCL-24. It's awesome. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy that all of the team the entire team is participating in the career lab. So we're not this isn't, we're not done, and this isn't goodbye. We have planned on meeting up also outside of Collab lab, and yeah, just the walkthrough that Andrew had presented today about the next couple of weeks sounds really great in helping us all land our first job out there. And also, I have a week from today. I have a week off from Hobarton, so that'll be just nice to have a little bit more time on my hands. So.
Very cool. Rachel.
Yes, I'm. We're all participating in the career lab, but I'm really excited because I think it'll be a great tool to help me get started in actually applying to a full-time job. And I would also like to stay involved with Collab Lab because it's just been such an awesome experience.
Very cool. And then Andrew, onward and upward, as Lauren said. So what's next for TCL is this. This is sort of with their 5-year plan. Career Lab, right? We're kickstarting that today. And it runs for the next 2 weeks. I'm really excited to see how that goes. So Collab Lab are also working on an ebook aimed at helping hiring managers get more comfortable hiring early developers. Like, this is why you want to hire early career developers, and this is how you support them once you get them onto your team. So I'm really excited about that. Longer term, TCL is going to partner with companies to encourage them to create more entry-level early career job openings. So that's kind of our next focus, is to continue what we're doing and then to help more guide our Collabies into jobs, like do as much as we can to get people jobs. Dee.
Yeah, so like everybody else, I'm also doing Career Lab. So I'm excited about that. And then in the next weeks, I'm just preparing for interviews that I have coming up. And hopefully I can finally get a job because I haven't worked in so long. But yeah, excited and nervous all at the same time.
Brittany.
I am also excited for Career Lab. I think it was really fun hearing about all of the things that are planned, because it looks like just everything's going to be so valuable and so helpful. And then I'd really like to participate, volunteer in the future in supporting Collab Lab in some way. And it's cool that that's an option, because I've always felt like I wanted to, once I get some experience under my belt, like help other early career developers, and participating in Collab Lab has just like really, you know, added fire to the flame. I forget the expression, but like it's really just like made me feel that even more so. Like I really want to give back and help other people the way Collab Labs helped me.
Cool. And then I just want to remind everyone, we are your mentors, not for just these 8 weeks, but we are your mentors. So please reach out to us when you need references, when you maybe need a set of eyes on a code challenge that you're doing. If you like, we'll recommend you to our companies. Like, these are all things that we as mentors, and we want to promote you and get you jobs. So please reach out to us at any time in the future. I'm excited about Career Lab. So I looked through the content. It looks really amazing. I started watching Crystal's videos on LinkedIn profiles, and I've already made some updates on my LinkedIn profile based on her information. So I think the content looks really, really good. So I'm excited to hear from everyone how it goes. And yeah, we're your mentors forever. We're always your mentors. We love ya. It's just a really, really, really great team. And I'm thrilled with the work that you've done and the application that you created. It looks beautiful. Like these, so remember these experiences as you're going forward and interviewing. You can speak to all of the problems that you solved, the work that you did together, how you collaborated, how you made decisions together on how you work on a team. Like, point out those fantastic demos that you have. Like, it's just really great work to highlight to future employers. So yay.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Would anyone else like to say anything? I hate this part of Collab Lab, like the very end, but I love that you all are sticking around for Career Lab. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Yeah, we're your mentors forever. We're here.
You'll never escape us.
Perfect. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. In terms of like continuing to be involved with Collab Lab, so we don't always, but we often have assistant mentors participating. So there are usually 3 mentors for each team, and often one of those mentors is an assistant mentor. Just this time around, we happen to have tons and tons of mentor volunteers. But this coming spring 2021, we have 2 assistant mentors. So that's a great way to get involved with Collab Lab. Pay attention to when the tech talks are happening. Those are really great to attend, to just learn new skills, like in terms of technology, even in terms of career and other just ideas, things to learn and to focus on. But that's a great way to kind of stay in the loop with Collab Lab. I know it's hard to always be paying attention to just another Slack channel, right? But attending tech talks is a really great way to stay involved. And there are always things like Stacy needs help with. So there are ways to stay involved with tech talk or with, pardon me, with Collab Lab without being a mentor or an assistant mentor. There's lots of things that we would love to have you help us with. So, yay. All right, with that said, all the best to you. Fantastic work. You are all amazing. You did a fantastic job. The last 2 weeks were spectacular, and I'm just super proud of all of you. Take care,
Thanks, Noel.
everybody. Thank you.
Awesome work, y'all. Best of
Yeah.
luck with
Great job.
everything.
You too. Thank you. Good luck,
Yeah.
everyone.
Good luck. Take care.
See
Okay, I'm
ya.
gonna end it. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.